The sand whipped against my face, each grain a tiny needle. My ears rang from the blast, a constant, high-pitched whine that drowned out everything else. I remember the world turning upside down, the sky a sickening yellow-brown swirl. My rifle, my lifeline, was gone, ripped from my hands. I was alone, disoriented, my legs screaming in a language of pure pain. Through the haze of dust and smoke, a figure emerged. It solidified, became human. Captain Miller. He was yelling something, his mouth moving, but the sound was lost in the ringing. He grabbed my vest, his grip like iron, and started dragging me back. The world was a blur of sand and sky, pain and confusion. He pulled me behind the crumbling remains of a wall, the only cover for miles. "Stay with me, Sergeant." His voice finally cut through the ringing, rough and urgent. "Just stay with me." He was working on my leg, his hands quick and sure, packing the wound. The pain was immense, but his presence was a strange anchor in the chaos. He saved my life. Right there, in that dusty hellhole, he pulled me back from the edge. Days blurred into weeks in the field hospital. The ringing in my ears faded, replaced by the quiet hum of machines and the low murmurs of other wounded men. Miller visited every day. He'd bring stale coffee and even staler jokes. Anything to see a flicker of a smile. He talked about his kids back in Ohio, about the boat he was building in his garage. He never talked about what happened out there, and I was grateful. He just sat with me, a silent promise that I wasn't alone. I thought about my own home, the little house with the blue door I'd bought with Sarah. I pictured her tending the garden, the scent of her rose bushes. That thought, that image, was my real medicine. It was the reason I fought to get better, to walk again, to go home. The day I was finally cleared to fly back to the States, Miller came to my room. He didn't have his usual grin. He looked older, tired. He closed the door behind him and just stood there for a moment, his jaw tight. "Something wrong, Captain?" I asked, my voice raspy. He pulled a chair over, sat down heavily, and leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. He looked at his hands, then at me. His eyes, usually so steady, were filled with something I couldn't place. Pity. Regret. "Davis, there's no easy way to say this," he started, his voice low. My heart started a slow, heavy drumbeat against my ribs. She's fine. Physically, he corrected himself quickly. He took a deep breath, the kind you take before diving into icy water. "I wouldn't be telling you this if it wasn't important. If I didn't think you needed to hear it from a friend before you got home." He paused, and the silence stretched, thick and suffocating. "While you were out here, bleeding in the sand." She wasn't alone. The words hung in the air. I didn't understand. Or maybe I didn't want to. "What do you mean?" "Her mother was staying with her." Miller shook his head slowly. "Not her mother, son." He looked me straight in the eye, and the pity was gone, replaced by a grim resolve. "She's been seeing someone, a guy from her work. It's been going on for a while." The hum of the hospital faded away. All I could hear was a new kind of ringing, a roaring in my ears. It felt like that blast all over again, the world tilting on its axis. Sarah. My Sarah. It didn't make sense. The letters she sent, filled with love and longing, the pictures of her by the fireplace. Were they all a lie? I must have said something, or maybe I just made a sound, because Miller kept talking. His voice is steady. "Somber anchor, there's more," he said, and my blood ran cold. "You need to be prepared. He's been living there, in your house." My house? The one with the blue door, the one I'd painted myself. The floors I'd sanded, the garden I'd dug, the home I dreamed of every single night in the dust and the dark. Another man was living in my home, with my wife. And Davis. He hesitated, his voice cracking just a little. "The house, she signed it over to him. It's in his name now. Your name isn't on the deed anymore." That's when the floor truly gave out beneath me. It wasn't just betrayal, it was erasure. She hadn't just replaced me in her bed, she had erased me from my own life, from the very foundation I had built, the home I had bought with my own savings, the place that was supposed to be my sanctuary, my reward for surviving, was gone, given away to Im. I don't remember what I said. I don't think I said anything. I just stared at the blank wall opposite my bed, seeing that blue door in my mind. But now, a stranger was walking through it. A stranger was sleeping in my bed, eating at my table, leaving my life. And I was here, thousands of miles away, with a shattered leg and a shattered soul. Captain Miller saved my life in that desert, but in that sterile hospital room, he watched as it was taken from me all over again. The flight home was the longest journey of my life. Every mile that brought me closer felt like a step toward a cliff. I landed not as a returning hero, but as a ghost. I took a cab from the airport. I had to see it. I told the driver to stop a block away. I walked, my leg aching with every step, until I could see it. The house. My house. The blue door was still there, but there was a different car in the driveway. The light was on in the living room window, the window I used to look out of while I had my morning coffee. I could see their silhouettes moving inside, a man and a woman, laughing. I stood there in the dark, a stranger on my own street, watching another man live my life. The war overseas was over for me. A new one, a quieter, more personal war, had just begun. This story touched on some deep emotions, and I'm sure many of you have faced your own unexpected battles in life. What would you have done in this situation? How do you even begin to rebuild after something like this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your stories and your strength inspire us all. And if you connect with this kind of storytelling, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for listening.